Hey everybody, it's Kneecap here, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to get your Honeyback harvester mount, the bee mount. This is only Alliance, so you are gated by being Alliance to get this, and you're also gated by one other thing. You actually need to have a battle pet for this, which made it remind me of like more of a secret that they maybe were going to do at first and then changed it into something that everyone might want to try to get. So you either need to get Bumbles or Sea Breeze Bumblebee. To get Bumbles, you have to do a 7-day event where you have to feed Bumbles the bee by the Middle Meadery kind of this stuff formula every day. So you can look into a guide for that if you want to do Bumbles, but Seabreeze Bumblebee is a lot easier. You just need 250 pet tokens that you get just from doing the Pet World quests. You might already have enough of these sitting around in your bank or bags. If not, there's usually at least 2 up at any time, and you can world quests, and you can get the tokens pretty easily. I already had the tokens, so I just bought the Seabreeze Bumblebee. You buy the set of wings from the Stormsong Valley Quartermaster, and you just buy the set of wings, add it to your journal by right-clicking it, and then you will have to eventually get the pet out, to actually trigger the event, which again kind of reminds me a little bit of a secret. So once you have Bumbles or the Seabreeze Bumblebee, we're going to go find Barry. So I'm actually going to show you kind of how to get there a little bit from the flight. You're kind of going to the Middle Meadery flight path, and you'll see the Bumblebee there at the flight path. And we're actually going to hit up Barry. Barry's coordinates here are actually at 69, 64-ish. And I already did it, so you can't see him right now, but he'll be on the boat. At this point, you want to get out your Bumblebee, and your that'll start the whole sequence. So he'll start talking to you then, and he'll say your Bumblebee's on to something. There'll be green circles on the ground, okay? And you can follow these green circles up to the next location. I am just going to fly there and tell you the coordinates if you don't care about following the steps and stuff like that. But if you want to, you can just follow the green circles. It's just more of a winding path because you're able to do it by ground mount, so you don't have to have flying for it. But you'll just follow the trail all the way up there. Again, when I say it reminds me of a secret, I do a lot of the secret videos on how to get some of the secret mounts and stuff like that, and that's just what it reminds me of. It's basically straight north. We're heading to a cave. So, the hive location, if you just want to get there right now, is at 63, 26.5, basically, just around there. You can't miss the cave, really. It's just a nice little cave, and we'll go ahead and show you how to get there just by flying, so you can have a little bit of a reference point, I guess. Or maybe you don't use coordinates. But it's mostly straight north from where we were first meeting Barry. We're almost there already. Alright, so when we get here, you can't go inside because a hive mother is going to come block your path, and that's where I'm at right now. When you talk to Barry, he'll say something about maybe there's something you can do to appease her, and what that is to find some jelly for her, and this jelly is a main thing for doing this. So jelly just kind of look like little honeycombs, kind of like the stuff in front of you, but they're smaller and just on the ground randomly. There is spawn points really near the cave. In fact, the one that I end up getting is very near the cave, or you can kind of just search around up on the, I would stick to this general area, but stick maybe to the mountain area where you are now, and it will spawn like in the grass, sometimes near flowers, sometimes not, and it just looks like that honeycomb stuff, just a lot smaller, and you'll get to see an example of that here shortly. So I flew right back from where I just was flying. So I'm really near the cave right there, and this is what it looks like. It will dismount you unless you have the stirrups on or whatever that don't dismount you. And now you'll have thin jelly. So you'll be able to walk back up to Barry and let him know that you got the jelly. Or I think maybe you offer it to the bee first. You just have to make sure you do all the dialogue boxes to progress this point. So you talk to the bee, it doesn't do anything, unfortunately. So then you talk to Barry now, and Barry will do a little bee dance or whatever. Bees talk by dancing. I don't know, it was in a movie I watched as a kid. But he'll do a little dance, and the bee lets you in. So as we go into the hive, you can now actually, I think you actually have to talk to Barry one more time. Let's see here. You talk to Barry, yep. And he'll let you know that maybe you can try feeding the jelly to the little one, even though the big guy didn't want it. Maybe you can feed the jelly to the little guy. What's interesting is this little bee that you're feeding is actually going to be your mount eventually. So you're basically raising your own mount. Is kind of how that works. Also, feeding jelly to the little guy is how you raise your reputation with him. There will be 3 different kinds of jelly, and this is how you raise your reputation. There's thin jelly, there's rich jelly, and there's royal jelly. It all translates to the same thing. Royal is 8 thins, rich is 4 thins, and you can buy between the two depending on what you need. So now you can actually talk to the hive mother. You can see some of the items you can get here. There's not really too much important from her except for the trading of the jellies. Like I was just mentioning, the regal, the thin, the rich. You can, if you don't have a flying mount, especially, you can basically get like a flight master's whistle to come back here. And then, of course, the quest item that you get at Exalted to get your mount is from there as well. Barry, however, does sell a very important item, at least for the final grind of your reputation. So he has some dialogue boxes that you can go through too if you like. But what Barry sells for 20 rich jelly is these goggles at Revered. So that way from Revered to Exalted, you'll actually be able to track the jelly on the ground. You can also use them afterwards to collect jelly and sell it on the auction house or whatever you want to do. Or you can just never worry about getting them out and only sell it on the auction house. Of course, that is entirely your choice. So now we have everything unlocked. We have the hive unlocked that we need to raise reputation with, and we have the little larva unlocked that we need to raise reputation with. Now, we know how to raise reputation with the larva. We give it jelly. But how do we raise reputation with the hive? So there's not a ton of ways to do this. So the most important thing is you're going to kill the honey smasher every day. He is just like any rare spawn really, is kill him once a day. Sometimes they're once a week, of course, but this happens to be once a day. And we'll show you him first when I go there. And then you can also do Honeyback Harvester events, which I will put locations of in the description of this video, all of the coordinates of where the locations are. I'll also just put a website in that has an image, just in case you don't use coordinates. And you're also going to be searching for jelly while you're doing these events or just in general. And I basically just go from event coordinate to event and look for jelly on the ground on the way. Again, it's pretty easy to spot. This looks like the honeycombs on the ground. You can also buy the jelly from the auction house. I mentioned that you could sell it, but you could also just buy it from the auction house. And of course, then you just feed the jelly to the bee to get that all the way up. It's 2 stages, I believe, for the larva to get all the way up. So we're heading straight north from the cave basically here. And the honey smasher, the guy that you need to kill once a day, if you're really serious about grinding this, he's a big giant. And he just kind of patrols the beach north of here. Hard to miss him. He is very soloable. I do have good gear, but that didn't seem to matter too much. I'm not soloing him here, but when I did solo him, he didn't even actually do any damage to me. So he's definitely not super hard to kill. Now he can drop a bunch of jellies. He can drop like rare items and stuff like that are tied to the bee event. So that can be extremely helpful as well. So for me, he just pretty much drops the jelly and the BB gun. BB gun's just a little thing that does look a little bit extra damage. It's just an on-use item that you can use in your bags, kind of like an engineering item almost. So here you see Honey Smasher die here shortly, and he just does a whirlwind. He summons bees and puts some honey stuff on the ground. So I got some royal jelly, some rich jelly, and some thin jelly. The first thing I did personally is I just got my 20 rich jellies ready and just put them to the side for when I hit Revered and to get the goggles or whatever. That's just my preference. You could just feed it all to the bee, whatever you want to do. And eventually, of course, you'll need all the regal jelly or the royal jellies to get there. So I'm going to show you an example of one of the harvester events. So what you can see right now on the screen is some sunlight coming, so you can see them from pretty far away on your own without coordinates and stuff. There's only like 8 or so confirmed. I'd have to look at the map to say exactly how many. And when you see these green talkable bees, you make some strange motions, and that'll start an event with them. So you have basically a timed event. It's about 5 minutes or so. It's not super long, and you want to kill this stuff as fast as possible. You can get a max of 2 rare spawns that come. And the rare spawns will drop items that you turn in to rep to the hive mother, and you'll get a lot of rep from these. So this is how you get your main source of rep, is doing these events. And you'll also have a chance to get jelly and stuff from a loot at the end. I think maybe other items as well, similar to killing the giant. So again, the coordinates to all these events will be in the description, and I will also post a link to a website that has an image of it, and also a lot of the information that I went over on Wowhead. So I'll post that as well, so you have a more written guide to look at as well, if you choose to. So for the most part, these events are just on the outer edges, not in any snowy areas or anything like that, but just on the outer edges of Stormsong Valley. Everything's in Stormsong Valley. I didn't clarify that, but maybe I just assume people might know that. But yeah, so here I am killing my first rare from here, and I actually get the second rare to spawn on my own, which is not easy to do. And if you don't have a super geared group, it's almost better to do it alone, or unless you're not super geared. But it's just hard to get more than one rare without a lot of gear. Let's just put it that way. It's because it is a timed event, so you want super high, especially bursty DPS to get 2 rares out of it, and then you would get 2 items to turn in for rep from those rares, and they give quite a bit of rep, like I said. So that's about it for this. You just do this all the way. You just grind yourself all the way up. It's a lengthy process. Server hopping and stuff like that will increase the speed of which you can do it. I chose not to do that, but that does increase the speed. Please subscribe to my channel if this video helped you out at all, or if you just want to help me out, because it helps me out a lot. And other than that, everybody have a good one.